Hey guys, and welcome along to an impromptu installment of TeleworkPH, the TeleworkPH Business Process Outsourcing Podcast, changing the way we look at outsourcing to the Philippines. I'm Business Jeff, your host. Thanks for joining today. I have assembled before me the management of TeleworkPH, and we're discussing the events of the past week. A little update, we just went from a 500-seat office-based call center to complete work from home. That includes all operations work from home, seemingly overnight. And we're going to talk a little bit about that transition and how it came to pass. First, let me introduce everyone. First of all, we have Dreamy Rose Loquinario. She's the Director of Human Resources and Administration. We have the Director We have the Director of Operations, RC.
Hi, everyone.
And of course, we have our C-level. First off, we have Lyn Baynosa, who's co-founder and CIO. Jun Baranggan, CMO and also co-founder. And of course, our CEO and founder, Marge Aviso.
Hey, everyone.
Guys, it's been a week since this transition, right? And I got to tell you, the last week seemed long for me, and I know it had to seem pretty long for you guys. So let's talk a little bit about this transition. First of all, when we saw that there was an outbreak of this virus and that they were starting to put out travel advisories, Dream, maybe you can field this one. How close were we monitoring that pandemic right at the beginning? Did it throw up some red flags?
Oh, well, Jeff, when they started issuing advisories, we had to look out for all our agents because it was just after the holidays. So there are also other agents or employees that are on a break or on their yearly travel. So from then on, when we saw there were advisories, we went ahead and asked our company nurse to look out for all the employees that are out of the country and to make sure that they have to report back to our company nurse before going to the production floor. So that was the start of us monitoring this kind of news.
Right. So there was a lot of chatter going on, in social media, Facebook, Instagram. Everybody had their opinions. Everything was going back and forth. So, taking into that consideration of where that information was coming from, at what point did you feel that, hey, we need to take a move? We need to start making a plan. I don't know, Marge, did you want to talk about that? What point did you think that, hey, we really need to start doing something? Was it when the government advisories came out?
Yeah, so while we were monitoring these news from late last year, since December, it has been an increasing number in the incidents or the cases of COVID-19 in the Philippines and all over the world. So as leaders, we need to really you need to think steps ahead of what could happen potentially in the future. And so we kind of really imagined the worst case scenario, and that would definitely what happened with Japan and China. They had a lockdown, and we saw that future coming to the Philippines. And so that's when we realized that we need to do something, because if they're going to lock everything down, then including TeleworkPH, it's going to be impacting us.
Right. So a lot of that did fall on the Dream. Dream, how do you even begin to start to plan this transition? Because I mean that point, the pioneering of that whole process starts with you. I mean, what was going through your head? What did you even think to do?
Well, internally we were communicating with the C's about this, with our director RC, about what's happening around us, the global crisis, and then when our president declared that it's a public health emergency. So from then on, our company nurse has been tasked to monitor all news that are being released by the Department of Health. So from monitoring the numbers of people that are being tested for, or the number of people that have got on the COVID-19 in the Philippines. I think it was around March 9. I had to call a meeting with all the admin staff and all the HR specialists that we have to make sure we have like an outline, or we are able to give out a health advisory to everyone. So it was the start of um, putting in safety measures and plan, which is according also to what the World Health Organization released. From then on, our Cs and our director RC were also preparing a proposal for our clients, so we would be able to um, create a different arrangement for all our workers or our employees.
And I'm certain that that was even more difficult as the time progressed, because things happened so quickly, the changes. Because I remember it was like Monday morning last week when they said, okay, yeah, let's offer a work from home as an alternative. So if you're afraid to come to the office and we're doing the social distancing, you know, Marge said, we're going to allow the employees to work from home, but yet some can still work in the office. 6 hours later, it was nobody can work in the office. I mean, everything just progressed so quickly. And especially after the mayor of Baliwag, where our offices are, contracted the virus, unfortunately. And then all of the transportation and everything else shut down. RC, over to you. What, since you are the director of operations, you are directly working with, the agents in close, proximity. What was their initial reaction as all of this was going on?
So, well, for operations, the initial reaction was it's all about their health, right? So that's the first thing that uh, came into their minds, and basically right after that, of course, the job security. Given the situation, Dream's point earlier, we wanted to be able to think in advance and like expect the worst. So that situation had me really work closely with June to be able to like establish a plan right then and there, like on the same day. To your point, like a few hours earlier, when when we first started talking about the like the work from home, the eligibility and all that stuff. So basically the another thing would be like what are we going to be able to like provide for our families, right? If this will not stop. So yeah,
Right,
I
I
think
know.
that's mhm.
Well, I know a lot of them had that fear because many of them did not have computers at home. They didn't have internet, and we were able to help them out with that. Um, so I'm certain that was a major concern among the crew. How did that transition go when we told them, hey, we'll be able to help you out with the computers and everything else? I mean, they seem from my end, from what I've seen, to have adapted quite rapidly. Many of them never having worked from home before.
Yeah, exactly, Jeff. I agree. All right. So the first thing that we actually did is to, like kind of source out or ask the workers as to how many of the current workers or the staff actually has, like equipment or laptops or personal computers that they can actually use. The second step would be being able to like provide the office equipments to the workers that actually has the the internet connection, but doesn't have the like the tech like setup. I mean, those doesn't have the laptop and the computers at home.
Right. So over to Lynn. Now, your IT team had to take the specs. Everybody who had computers at home had to submit their specs, and if they weren't up to it, to be able to handle the account that they were on, then we were issuing computers. We were setting up internet, and I know even members of the team like Melvin and Patrick and JR RJ were making home visits to make sure that everybody was set up.
Yep. At first, we checked the specs of the computers, if it will pass from the benchmark, and then we checked for the internet speed. And then it happened so fast that we haven't made the computers ready for the agents to take home. And then that's the time that Patrick and RJ went house to house to fix everything, to set up everything per agent. There are some that knows how to do it, but there's a lot of them that are not really into the network thing. So there's a lot.
Oh yeah, that's a huge undertaking, especially with 500 agents. Getting that all set up.
And if I may add, Jeff, sorry to interrupt you. I think to give a context here, the mandate of the government keeps changing almost every week.
It happens so fast.
Yeah. Initially, we were planning on having some of the workers, working from home, and some of them would be staying in the office. But because they are seeing this is not effective, they had to enhance that kind of setup where everybody is completely quarantined in their own homes. So we had to make that decision in a snap that everyone goes to their own homes, take all the computers, and then just start from there. And so we didn't really have the luxury of, checking each individual computers, and just, we prioritized the safety of the agents just by having them go home.
Right, absolutely. I remember that, there was the message that was put out was everybody could pick up their computers on Saturday, but then, the government put out and said, no, Thursday is the cutoff. There's no more transportation. Everybody's at home. So it's been, a lot of scrambling, a lot of putting it together quickly and being flexible and adjusting. Because to me, really, this is an unprecedented. How could you ever plan for this? How would you ever think, hey, in a month, the entire globe is going to shut down?
I think
Jun has to say to that.
Yeah, our CMO would be able to say something about that. I think it started like Friday, so Sir Jun.
Yeah.
You had some predictions?
Oh no. Actually, no. It was crazy. Actually, it was a crazy week. Yeah. I if I remember it right, that was Sunday when we did a Facebook Live with our agents, right? And we told them, okay, here's the plan. We'll stick to the government's recommendation about social distancing. So the plan was to pull out a computer between two seats. So seats and then vacant, and then computer, and then vacant, and then computer. So there's your one seat apart, which was pretty good. And we told the agents that those seats that will be taken out, the computers, they can bring the computers home, and they will start working from home. And that's outside of the agents that what RC mentioned, that they have computers at home already. So the plan was perfect. And then suddenly, as Marge mentioned, okay, everybody should work from home. And it was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was the message you were mentioning, Jeff, that okay, people can pick up their computers. And so the agents were in the office. Some are still on duty, and the graveyards, the mid shifters are not there, and then people start lining up outside of the office to pick up their computers. The graveyard people, and one thing that added to the urgency was that I think at around 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. that day, I went out of the office to take a break, to take a breather. And when I went out, I saw the line of trucks and cars and everything. I think there was probably a 2 kilometer long line outside because the government started setting up checkpoints.
Wow, right.
And it was like, oh my God, how can our people get the computers? How can they get home on time? Because some will be doing their mid shift, and that's what 2 p.m. And it was already 11 a.m. Traffic outside was so bad, and they have to work again. They have to work at 2 p.m. So they only have around a couple of hours to get home, set up the computers, test the internet, test everything, and then start working.
And on top of all that, they had to get their own rides because the public transportation was down, and most of our, I would say a majority of our agents use
Yep.
and rely on public
And
transportation, which was
and yeah, and that's where we saw the cooperation, because I was there. I saw agents riding their motorcycles, the motorbikes, with their sister or brother, so that somebody can help them carry the computers while they drive the motorcycle, because it's the most convenient, mode of transportation at that time. Motorcycles can, crisscross and wouldn't be affected with traffic at all. But if you don't have somebody holding the equipment, then how can you drive? So that's where again the cooperation, the family members of our agents, appreciating the company's move to have everyone work from home. So I saw motorcycles, two people riding the vehicle, with one doing the back riding and holding the CPU here and the monitor here, and it was crazy. I wanted to laugh and cry at the same time, looking at the people.
I was going to ask, Lyn, how was your blood pressure seeing that? But it really, I mean, that just goes to show, and the reason why I mentioned that about the transportation, it shows the level of dedication that the agents are, willing to put forth, not only, for their own families and their own survival and keeping the jobs and keeping TeleworkPH going, but also for the clients. Because I know that a lot of them do have that feeling of that connection with the client. Over to you, RC. I wanted to ask about, now we've got all the agents, they're in their homes. Now I work from home. Marge has worked from home. All of us, I think, have worked from home. But we have all these agents that they don't know how to work from home. What was that challenge, setting up the communication, those channels of communication? Was that difficult, getting everybody to conform into that, or did that seem to go pretty seamless?
Yeah. So with the help of the IT and the human resources and admin department, we had established our internal communications. It's via Slack, right?
Slack, right.
And be able to set the workers' expectations that since it's going to be a different setup, then it will be a challenge. And for us to really make it work, we need to ensure that all the communication lines are open, and of course with the help of our our leads, right, our managers or operations managers, our SMEs, right? And of course, the cooperation of the agents for us to really make this work. I think that's one thing that's really helping us helping us right now to be able to like still deliver
Right.
on the like this the service level agreement or the requirements from our clients.
Now, Dream, we have no idea of any kind of timeline of when this is going to end. What do you see that has it been necessary to put new processes in place for the work from home? I mean, that are, because we like I said, seemingly this could be lasting months. We have no clue to when everybody will be back in the office.
I think what helped also the operations to kind of make it a little smoother, or the transition, is because before we were able to give out all the computers, we made sure that we were able to create a work from home policy. And with that work from home policy, we were able to lay down what should be done, or what should be considered if they are working from home. It has been uh, put into writing that once they do work from home, it would all stay the same. It's just that they are working on a different place. But our company policy, our attendance policy would all still be in place. They have to come in time. They have to log in to what they usually use when they're logging in. And then they are assured. We also gave out like a list of frequently asked questions, so that um, they would know what to do or what to expect. So I think it also helped in transitioning them from the office to from the office to their home. Those were the things that were given out to them. Aside from the policy, of course, they have to agree. They were given also an agreement that they have to sign before bringing home the computers. That was facilitated by the whole IT team.
And if I may add to that, Jeff, I believe TeleworkPH is about close to being digital, completely digital ready. In the very first place, we set all the tools we have into a cloud-based kind of environment, just so anyone can access their tools potentially from anywhere in the world. And I think that's one huge step ahead of other business owners, and specifically those who are still in the brick and mortar type of business. And that kind of really helped us scale, and at the same time be flexible enough and future proof the business that we are in.
Now, Marge, you had read an article about a major call center in Manila that basically ceased operations immediately overnight. They dropped all their clients, and they just had to shut down because they were not prepared or capable to make that transition to work from home. And Manila shut down, and of course, the safety of the agents was, a major concern. Now, when that happened, and all of these shutdowns and the lockdowns started to happen, and you knew you had to make that transition, what was going through your head? What were you thinking? What were your thoughts at that time?
We immediately thought about our clients that time, because I know in the United States, and most of our clients are in the United States, I know in the United States, it's business as usual. So if we are working with our clients based in the US, we have to still be operational for them. And so the very first move that we made is to come up with a business continuity plan. And we shared that. I can still remember we did that in about a few hours, right, June? We spent just like 3 hours or 2 hours doing that. But I think what made or break it is that we shared this continuity plan with our clients right away, and we got their feedback, and we worked together into coming up with a solution. I think what's more important here is that we made them understand it's a global concern. It's not just about telework shutting down or being affected, but they have to understand as well that we need to we can do we can meet the SLAs for them, so that they can still continue to be operational. And that's what's included in the business continuity plan.
Do you see in the near future or even in the distant future post-outbreak any changes to the way TeleworkPH does the operations, or even on a global level? Do you see any changes coming up?
Definitely. I mean, if you are a business owner yourself, you have to really future proof your business, and that means really transitioning to a digital kind of setup, so that whenever you have to really be flexible, you just don't know when the next COVID or next virus is going to happen, so we better get ready.
RC, back over to you. Have there been any changes to the metrics or the monitoring, or how is it that we are ensuring that productivity has remained the same from the transition from the office space to home base?
Yeah, so all right. Regarding monitoring, because in the office setup, we actually had SMEs walking the floor, and of course the line managers checking on their productivity like per interval. So in order for us to actually remain that kind of monitoring, we had to ensure that we would be keeping like the same schedule, number one, and the ratio of the subject matter experts and the like the team leaders is still healthy, right? And that should give us like time to be able to really like monitor the productivity, also with the help of the tools that we actually have, right? Checking on the idle hours, and the output that or the numbers that they're able to generate. I mean, we also have an option to check on that even offline. So sorry, even working from home. So
Lynn, you wanted to put something in that?
Oh yes, we are still monitoring the agents through our software. We installed the software on their computers, that we can still monitor them even on their houses. Their monitor screen during their shift. We still have that. It's the same as we have in the office. It was installed through VPN, and the IT on shift is still monitoring the screens of the agents. So if there's something that someone's slacking off, we can just ping the TL or someone within the team to tap on those agents.
Hey, Jun, how about feedback from the clients? Now, I know that I'm in close contact with one of the clients, and I got nothing but thank you, because he knew the situation here. And, I'll let you know, I mean, you know who it is. However, I'll let our listeners know that it's a small client. He only has 2 agents, but the fact that, we took care of him the same as the larger accounts, he was over the moon happy. He didn't think that he mattered enough, but he does. I mean, he did to me, and I know he does to you, to everybody in this room, that all of our clients matter to us. How about the larger clients, Jun, that you are in touch with?
Well, yeah. Going back, I think more than a week ago, before we decided to fully transition into a work from home setup, RC and I actually had a meeting with our biggest account in the US. During that meeting, they were actually giving us a new project. But then, during the discussion, it was brought up that, hey guys, there might be some problems. That time it was just Metro Manila who was in lockdown, but it was already anticipated that because we're just what 3-4 hours away from Manila, so and I would dare say that there are lots of Bulaqueños, people from where we are, Bulacan, they're working in Manila, so there was really a very big chance that the lockdown will be spread outside of the metro and that will hit Bulacan, and it happened actually. So we told them that there might be an issue. So we are proposing during that time the work from home policy was not done yet. It was not finished yet. It was already there, but still needs some polishing. So that was a Friday. We talked to them about that. Of course, the initial issue, the question they raised is, can we maintain quality? If I was a client, I would ask the same question. So RC and I explained to them that, okay, every tool is cloud-based. So the only thing that is not cloud-based is the actual day-to-day operations where, as RC mentioned, there are SMEs, we call them floor walkers. So they just walk around assisting the agents before submitting the tasks, before, finally doing things. The floor walkers are there. So we explained to the client that there's going to be a digital version of that. So they're still walking the floor, but not physically right now. They're doing the floor walking digitally. So and I think so far we're doing good. We are even there's a metric for this client. We call it OTE. The OTE so far right now that we are working from home, that everyone is working from home, is actually higher than last month, right, RC? I think it is.
That's right. Yep.
Month today. So to answer your question, Jeff, I think we delivered the goods. We still managed to deliver the goods.
So we our listeners and the people watching the video probably have this vision in their head of mass hysteria, panic, everybody grabbing computers, hopping on motorcycles, signing papers and out. And probably to an extent, it may have looked like that from the outside, like there was this major looting going on at TeleworkPH. But my question is, did we, and I don't even know this, did we experience any downtime at all?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I was in the office during that day. If ever there was, it's not 100%. Yeah, again, I am.
Okay, June, I think we lost you. RC, did we experience any major downtime at all?
Yeah. So I think to add to what Sir Jun was saying, is that the downtime, it was very minimal, right?
Mhm.
And prior to us, experiencing the downtime, we were able to like set our clients' expectations in advance that
Right.
due to the current situation, we might be experiencing like a bit of a like depth, like in terms of being able to service our clients on time. But it's very minimal, and it didn't really like impacted the operations at all.
See, that's good to hear. And I mean, the main thing is the focus would be, we're not perfect, but with just minimal shutdown, because I know that I've seen that a lot of call centers, they were just they were just, you know, in havoc. And just like the article that we mentioned with that Marge had read earlier, one major one, they even had to shut down. You know, so having just minimal lapse, you know, for a small brief amount of time, I think is pretty good and pretty understandable, you know, given what's actually going on.
I'm
Most of the
sorry.
issues are around disconnect, internet got disconnected. And I mean, that's normal for any residential internet connection here. And like, it happens only for a few minutes and then they go back online. That's, I think, is more important than, completely ceasing or shutting down.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and they have to understand that you know, the internet workers and everybody is affected with this. So everybody is either working with a skeleton crew, or, you know, response times are going to be a little bit slower because you know, streets are shut down. There's checkpoints and everything else, and we've really not experienced much of that, if any at all, since the transition. So, Marge, what is really going on your end? I mean, can you be a little more specific about what you're looking at towards the next few weeks, few months? Are you just looking to play it out and just, you know, monitor everything closely?
Yeah, so I've been saying this a lot of times, that the business continuity plan, that the purpose of that is to ensure that, we are still continuously operating, and that we need to continuously document our next steps ahead, or the plan ahead. And that includes continuously looking into what the government mandates for everyone, because we just can't operate on our own. We need to consider that as well. And then also make sure that while we are considering that, we are also working with the client, ensuring that we update them of any information that may be impacting to us. They should know first, so that we can take actions from there, whether it's, complete shutdown, or the operations will be impacted, or, absences, loss of internet connection, some, you name it. And of course, we also need to make sure that we have right tools in place and process in place to enact that plan, that business continuity plan. And in a few weeks or months from now, we don't see this ending just yet. We see this to be continuously happening, but we are ready once we go back. We are going to be ready once we are, ready to resume our operations in the office.
So what kind of transition do you think that's going to be? Is it going to be a slower transition, or is it something that you're anticipating to make quickly again, getting everything set back up?
It's definitely going to be more gradual this time. Yeah, we have a lot of days to prepare for it. But again, it depends on what's going to happen, because sometimes while you are foreseeing this may happen, it's not going to be what really is. So you need to also take into consideration a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely. So now, as everybody knows, I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. So I'm always watching posts, and I'm seeing that a lot of small businesses, some startups, and even medium-sized and larger businesses are greatly impacted by this global shutdown, to the point where, they're losing people. They're losing business, so they're having to let people go. They're not going to have the funds in a few months, certainly in half a year to a year, to keep operating. So we're going to be there to be able to offer a post-outbreak plan to help them keep back on track. And that's basically the purpose of this discussion, is to let people know that, we will be here. We will, still be in business, and we will still be there offering our services. And anybody that wants to talk to us or talk to me personally can just, we can just hop in a call and chat about it and start making a plan about what the future could be. Because outsourcing, things like, our back office, your back office operations, your customer support, even all the way down to a virtual assistant to keep you back, get you back on track, to keep you afloat. We're here to help you along with that journey. Okay, guys, well, that's going to wrap it up for this meeting and this episode of Telecast PH. Thanks for joining. I've been BizDev Jeff. Have yourselves a great week. And if you want to find out more about TeleworkPH, all you got to do is hop on over to www.teleworkph.com, or you can hit me up on LinkedIn. Just search BizDev Jeff. And as the late, great Wayne Dyer used to say, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Take care, everybody. Be safe. This is BizDev Jeff signing off.
Yeah.